In today's video, we're going to do Q&A. I'm telling you, these questions are good. Let's dive into it right now on the Biz Talk. Tracey, why are you laughing at me?
The excitement you have today is like your energy is off the chart.
I'm excited to answer these Q&A. These are really good questions. And I mean, look, we always have good questions on a Q&A. These are especially good.
What are they? Do you remember?
No. What are the questions? Okay. Question number 1. Is it bad for the nails to continue curing? So Tracey, for example, you're doing my nails, right? And let's say you put base gel on the left hand. I put it in the light and I keep it in the light until you're done doing the right hand. And even though it's more than 2 minutes, does that affect the product if it continues to cure? Like, does it continue to cure? Is it bad for the product? Like, have you ever experienced that?
So basically, can you overcure?
Thank you. Woof.
Okay,
Yes.
I remember being at a show and listening to someone on stage give this whole thing about how you can overcure. And I was just sitting there going, do you know how long it would take in the light
To overcure.
to overcure? For what we do in a service, no.
You don't have to worry about that.
Don't stress about it. You would have to keep it, because if you overcure, yeah, it can break down, but it's just no.
Yeah.
No. I remember just listening, and I was just like, this person, and they were not a nail tech, has never sat down and done a set of nails. I keep them in the light because otherwise they're going to be hitting those nails and getting whatever else in it and touching their hair. Like, I want them locked down. Yes.
And in your experience, have you ever had a situation where, because you'll do that, you're working on one hand, they'll keep it in there sometimes 3-4 minutes. I mean, a lot of lights now have timers, so they just turn off, right? Yeah. So maybe there's not a concern, but sometimes you just leave it on. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had an issue where it's like, oh my God, the customer came back and it's because of overcuring? I'm sure of it. Is that ever an issue?
No.
Okay.
No. I because the one thing I don't, base cures in like 15, 20 seconds. That's all you need really for base. I don't want to sit there and push the 30-second button.
Yes.
I just have them go in the light. It's an automatic 2-minute cure. It's not a problem.
Yeah. Awesome. Next question. When is it too late for a customer to change their mind? So at what point, Tracey, in the nail service, is it okay for them to go, oh, I don't want this design anymore, or no, I don't like this color? At what point? What's the point of no return?
No return. Okay, so as far as length and shape, that's when I've done your length and shape. And I look at you and go, do you like the length and shape, Habib?
Yes. And so I'm like this.
No, a little shorter. Okay, how do you like it now?
A little shorter.
Those are my favorite.
Can
A
you
little
make
shorter. A little shorter.
A little longer?
A little longer? No. But that's the point of no return.
Okay.
Once I have your product, putting your product on, I'm not picking back that file. I asked you, you looked, we're good, right? So then for color, I always would put the color on the one nail and go, do you like this color? Yes.
So even if they say, I want that color, you still paint
of course,
it. Yeah,
always.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's rare, but it might not be a color that looks good on their skin.
For
or
sure.
It's not what they envisioned by looking at the bottle.
Right.
So yeah, I always go, and then I can swipe it off. But once I've started and cured and it's done.
It's the point of no
It's
return.
done. As far as designs, like I might paint something really quick or place a piece of Mylar. Do you like the Mylar? Yep. We're good. We're golden. Do you like the glitter? Yep, we're golden. It's where I can backtrack very easily.
Right.
Is the point of no return.
Right. If you have to then, I've
File.
already cured it and I have to file, no, I'm not doing that.
No, because I've confirmed. And that's the one, usually you don't have any problems. People are very vocal. The one where you will have an issue is when someone is like, got this brilliant idea that I need the school colors, and the school colors just happen to be brown, yellow, green. You're just like, I'm sorry. I would tell them, these colors are not going to look good together. It's going to look good little caca, and they insist, right? And then they call you back the next day going, I don't like this. Yeah, I told you. I told you in 2-3 weeks when you come in, we'll fix that.
Yeah, or
Paint over it yourself. Unless I have time, then you can come in, but I'm going to charge you.
Right, I'm going to charge you, exactly.
So that's the only time I ever really ran into problems with something.
Got it. So good rule of thumb overall is like, if you have to really do some serious work to change, that's a no. That's a no. And
it's a full no.
It's a full no. And then a good way to practice is like, you've shaped them before you always checking the customer. Okay, cool. Shape's good. Length's good. Great. Continue. Color. Don't just start painting. Put it on one nail. Like having these check-ins is going to be really important.
Yeah, check-ins are because, and that doesn't mean that you didn't do a good job when you check in. It's just making sure from their point of view that it's exactly what's inside their mind. That's all that is.
Nice. Next question is, at what length of nail, Trace, will you charge extra? So what is that point where it's like, well, that's going to be longer, I got to add $10 for the size.
Typically past an active length. Okay. So when you have to really start building up the apex, you have to start using extra product. There's more work to it. That's when I start charging.
So if your base, let's say your full set price is $90. Mm-hmm. Okay, for example, full set of nails, Tracy Ryerson, $90. That's for what? That's active length.
Short to active.
Okay. What about like what do they call them? Not a ballerina?
That's custom shape.
That's custom. So that's
extra.
Okay.
And it's more work. Anything that requires more work is custom.
What about the I'm trying to figure out, like, they're like baby stilettos, but they're not almond, sorry, an almond shape.
Almond to me ballerina usually tends to have a certain amount of length that needs to be involved to get the ballerina.
Totally.
Otherwise, you just have a tapered square. Tapered square is part of it. A short almond, it's part of it. It's an oval. That's not. But when it becomes stiletto, where you're working to get the shape, because a lot of people do that. They're like, I want a ballerina short. That's not. You're not going to get a ballerina.
Yeah,
it's going to look weird. So
yeah.
Usually those really custom shapes, stilettos, ballerina, I forget a couple other names, that they require length on top of the custom. So you get charged for the length and you get charged for the custom.
And so would coffin, because that's kind of is that kind of ballerina coffin sort of?
The coffin typically, let me see if I'm remembering right off the top of my head, is a little wider, ballerina's a little thinner. Got it. But yes, coffin still requires a certain amount of length. Otherwise, it's just a tapered square.
Got it. And what would you charge? So if you're charging base 90, what are you charging for that shape?
It depends what the shape is. It's usually 10 to 20.
Okay, depending on what it is. Mm-hmm. Okay, like super long stilettos, 20. Regular stiletto, 10. Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Got it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Stilettos are kind of typically quite long. So it's usually 20. And if it was an extreme stiletto, I wouldn't recommend it first. We're just putting knives on you at that point. We're weaponizing you. It would be more.
Okay, got it. Next question is how to get honest feedback from your clients. So this is going to be, important for anybody starting out and you're starting to build a clientele and you're working on maybe new clients and they don't come back. How do you do that? That's tough.
Right. So this is actually really interesting that this was part of the questions, because I just got a message this morning from one of our Twitch streamers, and she had a situation. A lady wanted to go to her. She couldn't get her in. There was another girl that's been doing hair for years, but recently started doing nails. Okay. And she saw her nails too, and she said, she could do you. Are you okay with that? And she said, yes. She came in, and the girl did the service, talked to the lady, asked if she was happy throughout the service, very happy, leaves. She said not even an hour later, she gets the message, I'm not happy and I want you to redo my nails or refund my money.
To who?
To the girl that couldn't get her in.
Got it. Yeah. Not to the actual one that did her nails.
Yes.
Got it.
So, further into the conversation, it sounded like this lady might just been trying to get a full set, but if it wasn't, and she wasn't happy, the problem was she didn't communicate her unhappiness. She did not give feedback the way she was being
Exactly.
asked. It's hard. And I get that it's hard because it's
You don't wanna
awkward.
hurt their
They're
feelings.
right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But the only way we can improve, and we talked about this the other day, is getting the honest feedback. And we can fix it at that moment. If it's a case of you don't like the shape, I can shape it right there. It's quick. Let's do it, or whatever that is. But we did talk about this the other day, and I thought, well, maybe possibly, especially if you're starting out, maybe just a 5-question. You shoot a text to the customer, say, I shot you a text or email, you can send it private, or I don't know how, but where it's not right in front of you of, hey, the last question being I would have on there is, what could I do to improve my service?
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
And it's just, and explaining to your customers, like, please, I cannot get better. I cannot build a full clientele without honest feedback.
Yeah. I think that's great. I mean, it's hard to get honest feedback because a lot of times the customers don't want to hurt your feelings, but you have to ask, right? You have to try. I think a questionnaire is great. Like you can do digital, just a quick form they can just fill out real quick. There's a lot of ways to do that, but I think it's super important. Now, initially I thought like, oh, what if you could do it anonymous? But you can't, because each set is going to be unique to the person, right? And you're going to know what you did on that person. So you're going to know what the feedback is. So you just try to that communication.
Take it personal.
Yeah, you can't take it
hurts.
personal.
It does. It hurts.
Of course it does.
But
on the flip side, really asking the customer like, hey, let me know, so that I can get better, I can improve.
Yeah.
But really simply just asking them, or I like the questionnaire idea. I think it gives them time to think. They could fill it out, send it back, and then you get your feedback that way is also.
And if you're a customer listening, if someone asks you, a tech, a hairdresser, or whatever it is, asks you, are you happy? Just be honest. You don't have to be mean. Honesty doesn't mean meanness.
Right.
If you want your hair a little shorter, tell them you want it a little shorter.
Yeah.
That's why it's being asked. But kind of going back to what we talked about prior question to this is, what happens is it builds up, and then they say something at the end, and it's like,
yeah,
I've done everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Last question. What should I be working on before going into nail school? Good question. Trace, this is, I have a lot of thoughts on this because nail school, you're not really learning a lot of like technique and stuff, but like, what's your take on this?
Use every opportunity you have to get online and get the free education and practice. Get a trainer hand right off the bat.
Yes.
Practice all your downtime. Practice, because a lot of people will wait until they get out of school and then realize they didn't get taught what they needed to get taught. And then they're starting there. But what if you did it at the same time?
Right.
You're going to be way ahead of the curve when you come out. It's going to be way better that way. So you're thinking about it, start it now.
Yeah. I think that is the most simple, best answer is like you get that practice hand, you can get a kit, right? I mean, you can get a full acrylic kit or gel or whatever it is that you want to learn. They're relatively inexpensive. And dude, the number of instructional videos that are accessible, available online today is insane. Yeah. You absolutely can. You can sit there, have your phone, and just practice to your heart's desire.
Absorb everything, try everything, and then because we tell people all the time, not all roads lead to Rome. How do you know you are at the fastest point or at your perfect technique? Is when you are on automatic pilot, making the most money as you can and getting people in and out as fast as you can, and you got a full clientele. Success. There's success. Whatever techniques you tweaked and made your own, whatever it is, that's success.
Yeah, 100%. Tracy, I couldn't agree more. Look at this. You and I actually agreed on something.
It's a miracle we should end now.
We should. Well, coincidentally, that is all that we have today. Tracy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next time on the Biz Talk.
Subscribe channel now. Subscribe channel now. up with the